sit down and understand what you're signing before you sign, even in the bank. That is why even if money is being taken from you, but you hardly can get it even if you go to court. Because the form you sign for taking those electronic banking and other things is still there for you that can defend the bank against what you need to do. So people should learn to read. People should learn to understand what you are signing on any form in the
terms and conditions.
Gabriel, most times people, like recently, people were talking about, like, let me give a instance, the Mobi cattle market.
Yeah.
That most of these marketers are not really good with the banking system.
Oh, sure.
And with these policies right on board, these people do buy and sell. And they keep huge amount of monies because they need to do buying and selling. How do you incorporate these persons in making business very flexible for them? Because most of them, you know, they don't even have accounts. 2/3 of the sellers don't have accounts.
Since 2006, and I started working in UBA in Mobi, where this market we are talking about is there. Then there's what we call cash fast. That there was of the security of that area. They will still prefer that, even if when they make all transactions in the market, they will fill our bank from 2 to like 7, 8, 9 sometimes in the night. We are still paying them, and we are not paying them cash.
Okay.
So people that handle many cash are even afraid of taking these monies back to their houses, because people that bring cash are the Fulanis that stays in the bush and know that the money that has all the dialects, this thing should be, let them sponsor all local television stations, radio stations, to communicate to people. Let them, this caller tune on network providers, let them make it clear that people should be hearing it consistently. I think it will educate people the more.
Now, we've seen quite a number of persons, you know, thronging the bank. How much of a benefit it is, you know, for deposit banks this time around, where huge amount of money, you know, are being deposited in this bank for the fear of turning into a demo right?
And it's exceeding their COP, which will cause them to pay insurance cover on it. They rather not go and collect again, because they keep moving to the CBN at regular basis.
And when they move,
and if they move and bring back, they will pay money on it. So even the bank are suffering some charges because of this movement. But I believe that in the next 3-4 days, everything will be fine.
Benjamin and Gablai, I think there is more to this conversation.
People are used to money. People are used to money, because a lot will keep complaining. A lot are complaining about the availability of the new Naira notes. So people are so used to money.
But do we even have the money? That's the question.
Well, there is a category of Nigerians who have this money.
Who owns the money?
Let them be transparent to people.
That is what they wouldn't.
No, they want to be seeing their money in a cold room.
They would not transfer to people.
But it will continue to give.
This is Ikolo Community, and this is Otana Community. As election time nears, politicians arrive with money. Members of Ikolo community sell their vote, but Otana community refuses to be settled. They vote for the candidates of their choice.
I do solemnly swear that everything
After election, the Ikolo school needs repairs, but the politician has already settled them. Otana hospital needs repairs too. Otana community demands action and gets results. Your vote is powerful. It builds the future. Don't be settled.
No sit down look.
No sit down look.
Make una no sit down look o.
Wannan garin kasuwa babba ne, wannan kuma garin kuka jere ne. Kamar yadda zaɓe ya karatu, 'yan siyasa sun iso da kuɗi. Al'ummar garin kasuwa babba sun sayar da ƙuri'ansu, amma al'ummar kuka jere sun ƙi su sayar da tasu ƙuri'a. Sun yi zaɓe ne bisa cancanta. Bayan zaɓe, makarantar kasuwa babba na buƙatar gyara, amma sun riga sun sayar da 'yancinsu. Shi ma asibitin kuka jere na buƙatar gyara. Al'ummar kuka jere sun miƙa kokensu a gyara, kuma sun cimma burinsu. Ƙuri'arka na da tasiri, tana inganta makoma. Kada ka sayar da 'yancinka.
You're welcome back and you're watching Cypher Breakfast Show. Now, there is no nation that can ever rise far above the level of the education of its people. But to get to that point, there must be a self-deliberate exertion of energy, time, and mind. Now, we've been joined by Buni Anani, an educationist, and of course, she's going to tell us what it means to own your own learning process. Bumi, good morning. And
Very
nice
good
to have
morning
you.
Good to have you, Bumi and Anani. Happy New Year.
Oluwabumiana. You know, there's a rising tune and fall tune. Oluwabumiana. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you know, if one hears that owning your own learning process, you know, what comes to my mind as an individual is that you will create your own environment that suits you and your level of cognitive ability. So I don't know, what do you mean by one owning his own learning experience?
Well, actually, to own one's learning experience can be considered from two perspectives. From the perspective of the teacher and that of the learner himself or herself. Now, education, actually, when we look at what education is, in sum, it is the total sum of the formal and non-formal processes of acquiring, of receiving instruction and guidance from an organized and structured context. Now, looking at education from that purview, from that perspective, it will be right for us to say, okay, fine, the product of education should be an educated person. That is somebody who is disciplined enough to sit under the tutelage of another, let's say a supposedly superior person with superior knowledge, or somebody, an educated person is someone who has been able to selflessly, of course, discipline is part of education. However, it is more than that. It is to be an educated person, or the product of education is expected to result in an outcome that is more tangible, that is more durable, and that is more visible. And that is why we want to talk about owning your own learning experience. Teachers should help students to own their learning experience. Learners should also learn to transit from being students to becoming learners. And that brings us to the difference between an educated person and a learned person. When I talk about an educated person is somebody who, like I said earlier, is disciplined enough to sit under the tutelage of another and is able to follow the laid-down procedures and processes of acquiring knowledge, receiving facts, imbibing skills. That's an educated person. But beyond that, an educated person is also someone who is only a receiver, receives knowledge, but has not come to the point of becoming a co-creator, a participator in the production of knowledge, skills, and ability, which differentiates an educated person. Is informed, yes. An educated person is informed, has the knowledge, has the facts, has the information, but it stops there.
Maybe this is your opinion. Don't you think this should be intentional?
Definitely.
Because most of the times it goes just beyond you trying to explain all of these. And some persons, actually some individuals or some parents will always try to factor in your explanation. For example, they'll say, especially when you bring in some homework from school, they'll be like, okay, meet your elder brother to do that. That is already, you're grooming your kids in that manner. So the intentional part of it is somehow my concern.
Thank you. The intentional part of it is where becoming a learner comes in. Being an educated person, it takes the responsibility of the student to the teacher. But becoming a learner now places the responsibility on the student and less on the teacher or the adults in the life of that learner. Now, who is a learner? Remember we said that an educated person is informed, has the information, has the knowledge, has the skills, however, has not been able to translate the information gathered into something that would be meaningful, that would be applicable to his or her own real life experiences, that the person will be able to be a participator. How do I mean? When you see a learned person exhibits the street. The learned person has a sense of responsibility towards his learning. Number two, a learned person also manifests refinement, growth, personal growth, character, depth, empathy, sensitivity. Is sensitive to his or her environment and knows how to detect the problems around him or her and finds a way of translating his knowledge in such a way that it will be useful to applying it in solving real life problems. That is a learned person. Now, I said that we can look at it from the position of the teacher. Yes. Now, the teacher has the responsibility of helping that child transit from being a student to becoming a learner. And how? The teacher has to understand the fact that, look, I don't want to, as a teacher, if I want to translate my student from being a student to becoming a learner, I have to recognize the fact that my student has a learning context. And every student in my class has varied experiences, goals and motivations, different emotional states, and every child has a different capacity to learn a subject or to acquire a skill. So now, factoring those variables into consideration, what am I supposed to do to help my student transit from being a student to becoming a self-responsive learner is to help that child become self-aware.
All right, I like it when you try to differentiate between who an educated person is and a learner. From your submissions, I see that an educated person, is one who is informed for certification. For certification, because they want to get a job.
Exactly.
And probably, if after getting the job, the learning process stops. Why a learner?
In fact, the learning process does not stop. The person has not learned. Now, the difference between an educated person and a learner is this. The educated person has the facts, has the information. Now, translate those facts into something that will benefit society in practical terms.
He or she doesn't.
He or she doesn't.
If he or she feels...
Exactly. And that is where we have educated illiterates. Exactly.
Why inasmuch that learning does not just stop and it's not confined in 4 walls of a building.
That is another factor. Exactly.
The more you grow, you learn.
Exactly.
And even if you get to the point where the point of certification, translating that for the benefit of the society is another process of learning. Because when you do, you will still definitely get an impact.
So learning means you have actually acquired something for yourself, not necessarily something that was deposited within you. You have been able to sit down. Now, a learner is a thinker, a creative thinker, an innovator, an independent researcher. A learner is curious. A learner owns what he is learning in the classroom, beyond what is being churned or given out to him or her, that learner goes the extra mile to find out, to ask questions about what he is learning and how what he is learning is compatible with his goals, with his interests, with his values.
So how should rather schools imbibe this into their teaching curriculum? Because I think it just goes beyond the teacher talking about this. Yes, you remember we talked about how students or how pupils have different IQs.
Of course.
Yes, there are certain ones that want to really go extreme to understanding why the teacher said this. There are others that anything the teacher says, it goes. And there are others who they are not even in the class. While their physical body is there, their mind is somewhere else. How should this be imbibed in the culture of the teaching curriculum?
One of the ways this can be brought into the classroom is to create, the teacher should stop becoming the only focus. That's the center of attention. The decision making comes only from the teacher. Authority comes only from the teacher. It should be decentralized. There should be a lesser period for teacher talking time. For instance, the teacher has 35 minutes to teach. The teacher should spend maybe just 10 or 15 minutes providing instruction. And the remaining time should be spent providing direction, support, and feedback. Allow the child do his thing. Just provide a purview. Just provide the basis for that topic and allow the child think outside of the box. Carry out researches in the classroom.
But don't you think sometimes
and discussion.
The education curriculum, might be fashioned after either the US or the UK.
Yes.
Schools in UK, of course, is a straitjacket thing, whereby this is how it goes and this is how it should be done. Why the American pattern of schooling
allows for creativity.
Yes, creativity, and give room, for the student to make his input, talking point.
Yes.
So, it's pretty difficult now here to merge these both difference and distinctions in learning processes here in the country. But how do we go about it?
Now, the teacher is the owner of his or her classroom. A teacher decides what happens in his or her classroom. And the teacher has the responsibility to decide how I'm able to achieve my learning objectives and goals, which is why communication is key. And which is why whoever is supervising teachers should be up to date about current practices and should emphasize creativity within the classroom. But a supervisor or the management system, when they are rigid in their approach and in their perspective, they will limit the teacher's ability to be creative within the classroom. When an educator believes, an educator in this sense means a teacher. Can I continue?
Continue educating. Don't take light.
So funny, I'm good. You see?
You see? And this is not that lucky. You see?
To sonny lucky magadia. You see? And she eat. Mommy!
You see?
Mommy never take lights. Never. Do I work for them? Why are you shouting at me now?
Your mom, your son?
What is it now? This morning they
He
took
wants
like
you to arrest them.
Around 6:30. Mommy never took the lights.
As if he's staying at home, he's going to.
What are you not saying? Do I work for NEPA? I was in the kitchen. They say as
Yes,
I
that's
dancing over. I just rubbish his energy. Do I work for NEPA? What is it now? Then I can go and take your brother go to school. Mommy!
How old is he?
He will be 3 by me. I think it's about 2 years, approximately.
Wow.
8 months, 2 weeks.
I'm sure he was watching cartoon at the time.
Early morning school cartoon.
Early morning, but
3:14 now can static. When I woke up, I was.
My own is this Arewa Bongo Kids and Akili. I speak English.
I said, Mommy! I said, what is it now? So wait for me. Huh? I thought you were sleeping. Carry me. I said, bros, now here we go, get issue. I'm going to go and cook. I should carry you and carry you to where? Went down on TV and sat there. Mommy, they took the light. Every day if they carry light, you start screaming. Mommy,
And
they
for
took
his sake, maybe you should use a generator before he goes to school.
Emmy. How they train my pikin like that? Lie, man. No. I don't give him that kind of comfort.
She.
Even if there's jam, sometimes I don't want it intentionally. Go and study. If you cannot study, sleep. In fact, you need to sleep. If I played in the afternoon, sleep. No, I don't want to sleep.
What school is he in?
He's in one crèche. One of my pastor's wife's crèche.
Okay. What should you attend, please? Sorry. Okay.
So one of our pastors, the wife owns a crèche. She's doing very well. You say, Mommy, there's homework today. I said, really? So give it, and I said, no, you do it. I said, I will do it.
That's it. That's it.
You do
That's
it.
it. That's
it. I'm just buying time with him. I wouldn't, because teachership no matter ne so ina ga daga wurin mazan kai shi nursery school ne. Reception is keeping Nash because he's smart. He's very smart. He speaks very well. Like there are just some difficult words that he might not pronounce, but he speaks very well. You say, is she? Is she? I said, you say, Mommy, Rita beating you. I said, why is Rita beating you? So I don't
call me Nene.
So go and bring Rita, Joe. Wow, go and jack her. Yesterday he said that I was shocked.
Can you imagine?
So I'll go and jack her. Jack her!
Where did he learn that from? Where did you
get that one from? Wow, jack her. Jack her.
Is it from his cartoons?
I don't know.
He must have fixed it from
Jack.
But
like,
certainly not
even me, I wouldn't have said go and jack her. He's go and bring her or go and carry her or something. Yeah, I'll go and jack her. My friend was showing me.
Because he's a man.
He's a man. He's really putting in the money thing. So when she came, I pretended to slap her. You like this, you like this, use this leg. I said, bros.
What are you saying?
What are you doing now? Calm down now.
At 3?
He's not 3 yet.
What?
He'll be 3 by May.
What?
Use this leg, you like this. He beats me. I said, bros.